So what are the fundamental differences between management and leadership?
Here's where we get a little dicey with these
Yeah,
definitions. The manager is a title and a leader is a label. I'll
Yeah.
give her the benefit of the doubt.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Kiana.
And I'm Speros.
We wanted to do some live reaction videos on TikTok. So let's see where it goes.
So what are the fundamental differences between management and leadership? Focus and vision to start. Leaders often focus on setting the vision, providing direction, and inspiring people to reach common goals. Managers, however, tend to focus more on executing the vision set by leaders by organizing resources, managing tasks, and ensuring that day-to-day operations align with strategic goals.
I would say the first part of her leadership definition versus managers, let's just say, on the surface level, I agree. Usually when you're in a company and you're in the C-suite or the executive level, those people are the ones that, you talk about and they're like, yeah, I'm in a leadership position. They're the ones that setting direction and giving the vision. And true, usually after that, you have different levels of managers who is going to be more operational. They're the ones that is working hand in hand with leaders on getting the job done and being able to make sure the team has the information and proceed forward. So I would say from a leadership versus manager type of definition wise, I will have to agree with her. Yes. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think I always struggle with this. I think it's kind of comparing a job title, which is a manager, with a label of a leader. So I agree also, Kiana. I think a leader is indeed someone who has authority and ability to make changes versus a manager is typically somebody that's a lot more set in a particular part of the team, managing that team and making adjustments just for that team. So yeah, to me, it makes sense. But again, to me, managers is a title. Leadership is more of like a label you can put on multiple different places.
Yeah, the definition makes sense. But I think the key component here as a takeaway for everybody is that you could be both. A manager could be a leader could be a manager as well. When it comes down to the situation, if
Yeah.
you need it. Right. Let's continue watching.
Leadership relies more on influence and less on formal authority. Leaders inspire and motivate others to follow them. Managers, on the other hand, often use their positional authority to accomplish tasks, relying on the formal powers attached to their role.
Here's where we get a little dicey with these definitions.
I agree and don't agree at the same time. I think if we're really trying to separate the two, okay, I see where this is going. But I feel like it doesn't matter whether you're a leader or a manager, your influence and your role to get things done and work with your team it's just based off of how you lead or how you present yourself or how you show respect and how you work with a team. I think in this situation of what she's saying about re-influence versus formality versus using your position or title to get things done, I don't agree that managers do that. At least not all managers do that. I think it's really very much of just how you treat your team and how you truly lead. Again, I think we made a comment earlier, a manager could be a leader versus a leader also could be a manager. I think there is the good versus bad perception. So
Yeah. I'll just keep it short on my side, Kiana. I think it comes back to the whole idea. The manager is a title and a leader is a label. And to your point, they're interchangeable just depending on the situation. And then a leader, again, like a manager leads because they have team members that they need to lead. And then a leader, I don't know of any title called leader, just the word leader, right? So it's just, it could be blurred lines here. So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because we don't have the full clip, but
yeah.
Let's keep going.
Leaders are more likely to take risks and consider innovative solutions. They are comfortable with ambiguity and change. Managers tend to prefer established procedures and often seek control and order. making decisions based on practicality and process.
I think we have similar reaction to this. I think if the goal of this clip is to really be able to give a difference between managers and leaders, just so
Mhm.
people can be able to differentiate the two from a
Mhm.
definition standpoint or from a meaning standpoint, then that makes sense. But like we've been kind of saying from this beginning of the video, manager and leaders can be interchangeable. I think she mentioned that they can be both, so that piece I agree with. But other than that, I feel like a manager and leader, how you lead and how you get things done, how you influence, how you motivate, how you make decisions, how you give a vision, all of that. I think that can be done whether you're a leader or not. And I think that can be done just purely based off of you as an individual and how you treat people. People look up to leaders, or people look up to managers they like, respect, who's honest, who's transparent. So it's more of, I think, of a trait that people look up to versus the blanket title or role that you have.
Ye-
So,
Yeah. The way she is describing a leader, she's essentially describing somebody that's higher up in the leadership team. Like she's like a C-level executive, which then by definition have a lot more influence and they lead through influence and all that kind of good stuff. Whereas a manager is more of a title that is a lot more bound to helping team members and employees follow standard operating procedures and make sure they do the things kind of at the ground level. So from that perspective, yeah, it makes sense. What she says makes sense. But I think I'm with you. It's like these labels are, the one being a label and one being a title, are kind of being used interchangeably as if they're both titles, and they're not to me.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think often what she's saying is correct is oftentimes when a leader has to give vision, when influence, or a manager has to execute and do all that, it's because they're in a position that is enforcing those actions or tasks. So I think that makes sense. Sometimes
Yes.
your title or role or whatever may be is being influenced or force you to act a specific way because it's what the company needs. So
Yes.
I don't think it
Yeah.
should describe an individual though.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, a great clip, but it's
Yeah,
just when we get to the details, we can really start like nitpicking stuff.
yeah. It's good. Let's watch a different one.
Hacks that saved my leadership that I wish someone would have taught me sooner. So I'm here to teach you. Hack number one, I want you to stop rescuing and start clarify. Let me help you needs to become what do you need from me to move forward? This shows that you're supporting people without doing their job for them.
Hack number one, I would say yes, I agree. I think when it comes down to being a leader, the way you ask a question and the tone of your question can hold in different answers or results. I do agree. I've actually used this in my career as well, that oftentimes instead of going in and just do things for your employees or your team, by asking them how I can help you or what is your struggle, what resources, what tools do you need, things like that. By asking those type of thoughtful questions that causes them to think and challenge themselves, often enables and empowers them to even be better. Because it gives them the opportunity to take a moment back and figure out, what am I struggling with? What do I not know? And then it gives in return for you as a leader to be able to evaluate, is it a skills component that needs to be trained? Is it something else that's missing? What is the gap you're trying to solve and better help your employees succeed?
Yeah, I like it. You should definitely ask your employee, what do you need from me? What can I help you with? But at the same time, as the leader of that employee, you probably have a good sense of what they need. So it's a little bit of both. You kind of do both. It's a good question, though. It's a good question. So I like it. Cool. Let's move on to number 2.
Hack number two, stop rewarding silence. Instead of any questions in the room, I want you to ask, tell me one thing that isn't clear so that we can move forward successfully. This way you get real feedback instead of just fake engagement.
Hack number 2. I guess I'm not understanding how that is rewarding silence. So I like the fact that she's saying, hey, when you're in a team or environment, you should ask the questions of anybody have questions or not. Um, but at the same time, I think maybe I just need more context for hack number 2, because sometimes your employees may not know, like they don't know what they don't know. So they may not know what to ask. So as a leader, maybe it's also good to just verify everybody understood what you're trying to say, as in the meaning, not just the words itself.
Yeah, it reminds me in my days when I used to teach. One trick you would do when you teach a class is instead of saying, "Does anybody have any questions?" you would say, "Someone explain to me this concept." So this kind of relates close to that. It's not quite what you're saying, but I know in education, a big hack, let's say if you want to call it that, or just a big tip, is you would ask people targeted questions on something very critical about what you just learned, and then you would get to those like very critical points. So just ask me any question. I don't know. I mean, again, like you said, we need more context of what she means by that. But to me, it's going to be a little more of if there's a new process that got into effect and I want to make sure the team knows about it, I'm going to ask them targeted questions about that process. Like, hey, tell me a little bit about what do we do in this situation and why. That seems to me that where this is headed.
Yeah.
So
I think that's maybe what you're trying to go. It's like, do people truly understood what you were saying and were people paying attention? But at
yeah,
the end of the day, I would say there's many different ways to validate those points. So yeah.
very good.
Awesome.
Overall,
I think these are great. I feel like both of the ladies gave great definition advice, and they were fun to watch. Let us know if you like these type of live reactions to videos. If so, let us know if there's any videos you want to see us react to. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, and follow. And we'll see you in our next segment.